Did you know that in 2024, so far, a record number of B visas have been issued in America, over 4 million? So these tourist and business visas are in high demand. And so we want to help you guys figure out what are the most common questions you're going to face during these kind of visa interviews for America. Mandy, one of the most common questions is about purpose and asking, why are you going to the US? So what do our friends need to know about that one?
The purpose for a visa officer is really important. Just from this one question, why are you going to the US? It's sort of an open-ended opportunity for you to introduce yourself and talk about whether you're going for business, are you going for tourism? Is there anyone that you're going to visit? What will you do there? And so I would actually argue that this first question is the most important in the entire interview, because how you answer will actually set the tone for how well the rest of your interview will go. And sometimes if you handle this first question really well, you may even get an approval on the spot.
Awesome. Yeah, the more clear you can be and the less vague about why you're going, even if it's just for something fun and casual, that's okay. But if it's left vague or confusing, that's going to make the visa officers definitely hesitant.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Friends, if you'd like to hear the other most common questions you're going to face in a tourist visa interview, stay tuned. Hey friends, welcome to Chine Coaching. I'm Rob, and at Chine Coaching, we want to help you thrive and succeed in your cross-cultural journeys, especially with visas and immigration. And in this video, we're doing a deep dive on the B1, B2 tourist and business visa interview. We want to help you guys get approvals. There's about a 30% rejection rate. And so we want to help you guys find access, get to come visit America. And we've got a great guest today. Mandy, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks for having me back, Rob. My name is Mandy Feuerbacher. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney, but more importantly, I'm a former visa officer that used to work for the Department of State. And I used to interview visa applicants all day long, did that for about 7 years, worked in 3 different countries, and now I'm on the other side helping international citizens and foreign nationals like yourself succeed in the visa interview process.
So we talked about purpose, and the next topic that's commonly brought up is duration. How long are you going to stay? Why is this a common question?
Yeah, I think it's because the rules are a little bit confusing. Sometimes when people look at the rules, they find out that if you have a B1, B2 visa for business or tourism, that you can actually go to the US and stay for up to 6 months. While that is true and that is the rule, actually in practice, it's a little bit different. If this is the very first time you're applying for a US visa and you've never traveled to the US before, I think a visa officer likes to see a shorter amount of time. Generally 2 to 3 weeks is a very standard, acceptable, common amount of time to stay in the US. So if you're applying for the first time, don't put on your visa application that you plan to stay there for 6 months, especially if you're someone of working age, because they're going to be very concerned that you just plan to stay and never come back. So for your first trip, you want to be aware of that. And for this question, it's very important to be upfront and direct with the officer about how long you intend to stay.
That's great. Yeah, again, clarity, having a plan is really important. The next common topic is about career or occupation. Kind of what do you do, or what is your job, or are you a student? So why do the visa officers want to know about this?
Yeah, so this again is another very important question, because what the visa officer is trying to do here is assess your ties to your home country. Do you have a good job that you have to come back for? Have you been working there for a while? And I think the hardest thing that I used to see as a visa officer interviewing, hundreds of people a day, is that people tend to just give one-word answers or not give any additional context about their job. They might say business or work, and that doesn't tell the visa officer anything. Instead, when you answer the question about your job, you really want to give a little bit of detail about how long have you worked there, what kind of company is it exactly. If you're a student, obviously you're not working, but if you're doing some sort of internship, that would be a good time to bring it up. And you might also want to mention, and this is specifically for students, but if you're not working, how are you funding your trip? Who is helping you pay for your 2-week vacation in the US?
That's great. Yeah. Can you support yourself financially? That's an important question. And then having a career that makes sense, is clearly communicated, also will kind of show that, hey, you've got something to go back to after your trip. Another tricky topic to discuss during the visa interview is family. And do you have family in the United States? And how did they get there? Why is this important for the visa interview?
Yeah. So when the visa officer asks you this question, they want to understand who you know in the US and how did they end up getting there. Again, one of the common problems that I've seen with visa applicants tackling this question is that they will say something like, oh yeah, my sister's there, or, my cousin is there. But they don't follow through and answer the actual question in the mind of the visa officer, which is, how did this person get there? And so if you do answer this question, it's a good idea to give a little bit more context. My cousin went there over 20 years ago as a student, ended up, getting a great job on an H-1B visa. And now I'm planning to go visit her for 2 weeks and to see, to attend her wedding. That is a very complete response because, Rob, and we're going to get into this a little bit later about the insights, the visa officers don't have a whole lot of time. If you're going to make it difficult for them to get information out of you, if you're forcing them to ask additional questions, sometimes they get a little tired and they might just end the interview and deny your visa. And we don't want that to happen.
Exactly. Clarity is key. And another very common topic is things like home ties, property. Do you own any real estate in your home country? Is there anything else about your life that's going to anchor you back or bring you back? And why is this important to convince the visa officers regarding that?
Yeah, because, I think for visa officers, real estate is still a really positive factor of a very strong tie to your home country. So they may ask you, hey, do you own a home? Or, where are you living? Who are you living with? So those are all sort of prompts for you to answer questions about like owning real estate, owning something that, is very expensive generally to purchase in your home country. So if you do own property, that's a really good time to talk about it. Again, you want to offer some context. Yeah, I own my own home. It's got 3 bedrooms. I've lived there for 10 years. If you're a young person and you own a condo, you want to mention that. So you don't want to just say, yes, right? You always want to give additional details in context.
That's great. My friends, in just a little bit, we're going to share some special tips that you need to know how to prepare. But first, if you're learning a lot, hit that like button to say thanks and cheers to Mandy for sharing these common questions. And our chai questions for you guys who are watching are, what kind of questions do you have about preparing for the visa interview? What do you need help with? What do you want to know? Let us know in the comments. What are your kind of preparation questions so that we can help make great content to help you, or even maybe answer your comments. So please share that in the comments. But next, Mandy, as a former visa officer yourself, you've got some special tips to help people know your perspective and what you're looking for. And so what are some of these kind of bonus tips that people need for preparing for this B1, B2 visa interview?
Yeah. So, I did this job for about 7 years, and it's probably to this day still the most stressful job I ever did. Every single person you talk to, you knew that this decision was super important for them and whether or not they get to travel to the US. But ultimately, the main goal of the visa officer is actually to interview as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Each officer is required to interview more than 100 people a day. And if you're someone who is interviewing less than that, then you might get a talking to by your supervisor that you have to go faster, which means that for all of you, on average, each interview is only going to last between 30 seconds and 3 minutes. So think about, in that short amount of time, are you prepared to answer all of the questions that Rob and I just talked about? Can you be clear and concise and give them what they're looking for? Another insight that I have is that, the way that the US visa law is written is that it's actually your responsibility as a visa applicant to convince the visa officer that you qualify for the visa. And it's not actually their job to just ask as many questions as it takes to understand your situation. Want to get that visa approved, you have to make their job as easy as possible. If you're not prepared for your visa interview, it's actually very easy for the visa officer to deny your visa for any reason at all. And so sometimes, I get a lot of people coming to me and saying, well, I was only denied after 1 or 2 questions. I only had 30 seconds. well, that's your window of time. So you really want to make sure that you're capturing their attention and making them sit up and say, oh, okay, this person seems like they qualify. Visa approved. There is no appeals process for visa denials. So it's not like after you get denied, you can say, can I talk to your supervisor? No, once the decision is made, it's final. And then finally, and most important, every time you get a visa denial, it's actually more difficult for you to succeed in the future for any type of visa application. And this visa denial will stay permanently in your record in the US government's computer systems. So very high stakes interview. Definitely do everything you can to prepare from the very beginning.
Yeah. And because of that, because that first visa interview is so important, such a short time, preparation is so key. In this video, we're just scratching the surface. But Mandy, you guys have a special resource that you've just launched. So please tell our Chine coaching community what you guys have to offer that can help people be better prepared and ace these visa interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just launched our B1, B2 visa coaching course. And basically it is an online course that consists of, so many different video lessons on exactly what you need to prepare for your B1, B2 visa if you plan to travel to the US for either business or for tourism or to visit family or for medical reasons. We cover it all. And in this course, we teach you exactly how to communicate with the visa officer clearly. What should be the first thing that you say? How do you explain your situation so that you are doing your job to convince them that you're eligible for your visa? And a couple of other things that are cool is we offer examples of good and bad interviews so that you can actually take our tips and put them into practice and see us use them. And finally, if you buy the full complete course, which teaches you everything from how to complete your DS-160 visa application form to how to talk to the visa officer and what happens after the interview, you will actually get access to a former visa officer in our exclusive question and answer session that we hold every couple of weeks. And so if you have any leftover questions, you're welcome to attend that session. And we also do a lot of mock interviews so that you can see if you're ready and we can give you feedback.
That's amazing. I'm so excited for this. Your guys' F1 visa interview course has been a huge hit, and I know there's huge demand for this one, so it's going to be great. And friends, if you use the code RobChai, you also get a special 10% discount. So we'll have the links shared with you guys above and below. Go check it out and see if this can help you be better prepared and find success in these visa interviews so you don't have to get that denial and figure out what to do next. Mandy, this has been incredible. I've learned a lot, and thanks for all your hard work in helping people be better prepared for these visa interviews.
Thanks so much, Rob. I think, after doing this job for 7 years as a visa officer, I realized that so many people didn't understand what was at stake and what the process looks like to be successful. And that's why my partner Travis and I have made this our mission to get this important information out there so that you all can be prepared too and not get visa denials, because it must be the worst feeling ever to be denied a visa.
Yeah, we want to help out with that. And Mandy and I are making another video about the top reasons for rejection. So in this video, we cover top questions. We're doing another one on top reasons for rejections, again, so you can be better prepared. So check that out. We'll have the links for that. And if you want to learn more, you can connect with us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, be subscribed to our e-newsletters, a lot of great other free resources and tips there. We really want to help you guys out. Share these with your friends. Because I know as a tourist visa, you want to go visit friends, visit family, see the amazing sights in America, and we want to make that happen. But you have to be really prepared. Take this advice and let us know. Celebrate when you guys get approved so that we know that these things are working and helping you guys out. Thanks for tuning in. We love having you be part of this community, and we'll see everyone next time. Cheers, friends.